Everyone, this is John. It is about 5:30, and let's take a look at the S&Ps. And you can see we're kind of back into a squeeze here just to make things interesting. First, I want to show you something, though. So, for those of you not in Texas, we've had some crazy fires over the weekend. We had it was, of course, no rain. There's no rain in Austin. There hasn't been like in months. And then we had these 40-mile-an-hour winds that came through, and then the air pressure, I guess, dropped, so we had no humidity. So I guess so far like 1,000 homes have burned, over 25,000 acres, and it's still going in some parts. So our neighborhood is one of the neighborhoods that got hit. There's 50 houses that have burned so far, and at this point we have not seen. We had to we were lucky that we were actually away when the evacuation happened. So there was, I guess it was a nightmare to try to get out. You had all these people trying to get out. They were running out of gas because they were stranded and stuff like that. And there was this is a shot. I mean, there was real fire coming down the street. This one happens to be a picture in Bastrop, but it was actually the same way. I mean, it was the same type of fire in our neighborhood as well, because it was just eating all the dry cedar and stuff like that. And then when it would get a house, it would just engulf the house and then any cars that were sitting there. And there was some crazy like YouTube videos of cars exploding and stuff like that. As far as we know, our neighborhood did not get touched. The fire stopped about half a mile from it. So our neighborhood within the division seems to be fine. We don't know about smoke damage or anything like that. I did have we do have a pet frog there. I did think about what some of our friends were doing was that they weren't letting anybody else back into the neighborhood, so there's a lot of trails, and they would take their bikes down the trails and then kind of do a camouflage thing to their house to get key things out of their house when they realized that, you know, their part of the neighborhood had been contained, but they still wouldn't let people in. So I was thinking of going to do that and rescuing the frog, and then after my wife beat some sense into me, she said, I decided not to do that, but it appears that the frog will be fine. But it's been a pretty crazy, unpredictable weekend down here in Texas. The fires are still going, and we'll just kind of see. I'm actually going to, after I do this video, go step into the house. We're not staying there right now, but just at least go see, make sure everything's there, and then head back out to where we're staying out in the country. So interesting stuff. So what about them S&Ps? Here's what I think is going to happen here. We did have a really light volume on Friday, and so I did actually expect kind of a bounce here. But if you look what's going on, I think we're going to get a head and shoulders top here, kind of a really bearish, not only a bear flag, but head and shoulders top within that bear flag. That's one of the most bearish stock market patterns you can get. The ideal entry here would be 1,200, but I don't want to be too greedy here. So this is where scaling in is helpful, whether you're doing S&P futures, or options or anything like that. Technically, you can scale in right into this moving average. That's a little bit too high for my comfort, but the first key level is 1175. We got a little bit of strength here after hours. I wouldn't be surprised to see 1175 tomorrow. That would be an area to start adding, but I do expect that we could actually get up and test 1,200. I think any move above that's going to be tough, unless we get some government announcement of quantitative easing or something like that, which, that's always the risk. But the way this is setting up, we get up to that level, and then, we get the test of 980 into October. So I do want to set this up as a swing play. This is something I do want to have exposure to, and this is something that I'm watching for. Okay. If we take a look at the other indexes, okay, and a final quick reminder for those of you, and it's actually a pretty good time to be looking at this. Bonds making all-time highs, the impact that they're going to be having in the economy, and you can learn how to trade them starting tomorrow, Wednesday, 7 o'clock a.m. Central. I believe this is a 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. webinar. Yes, so. Again, Jack trades off of the CBOT floor, which I think is awesome. When we've done our seminars in Chicago, we've taken people to go stand next to him. He's sitting there and he's kind of calling out what he's seeing, not only on his charts, but also on the floor. And it's just a unique experience if you've never traded the bonds. And then I also encourage you to just try things out. This may be something you find is your niche. And I've talked to people that get frustrated because, they'll start, they try a lot of different things, or they try something and it just doesn't seem to be working for them. And it really may be something as simple as finding a market that fits your personality. And the two examples I can give you for futures trading is typically people trade a stock index future like the S&Ps or the Dow or something like that. And it's just for whatever reason, it's just, they're either using, too tight of stops, getting in too late, getting in too early, whatever it is, the stock indexes are kind of a little crazy sometimes. So then they'll go and trade like corn and soybeans, and suddenly most of their, I mean, there's always going to be stop outs and stuff like that, right? But essentially their frustrations go away, and now they're able to make a living trading. And I've seen the same thing happen with bonds. So, same thing, stock indexes, yada, yada, yada. They go in to start trading bonds, and it's like, oh my God. And what happens is they just found a market that matched their personality. And sometimes it's that simple. And so, for those of you, I just encourage you to take a look at it. You may look at the bonds and go, I am never trading those again. But at least this is an opportunity for you to look at it, and that's why we do these, so you can get exposure to different markets, all right? So that's going on tomorrow and Thursday. And again, it's a free webinar just kind of highlighting trading bonds. Jack's actually going to show you the setups that he uses that you can do on his own, and he'll also be talking about kind of the room that he uses to guide people through it and stuff like that as well, okay? You guys have a good night. Watch those wildfires, and we'll see you at the next update.